guys, did we all enjoy that?
Yeah!
I mean, I'm asking a room of fucking Evil Dead fans. Of course you enjoyed that. But
I've never seen the first one, so that was new for me.
we have a newbie. That's always good. Welcome. Enjoy. Glad it was an experience for you. Yeah, so this is our first ever post-film panel, so please be patient with me because I haven't done this before. But I just thought I'd ask you guys firstly to introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, and then we'll get into the chat.
Yeah, sounds good. Hello, my name's Amber. I'm UK correspondent for FANGORIA, and I write for Arrow and Grimoire of Horror, and of course the amazing Ghouls Magazine, who we're all here for tonight. And I'm an Evil Dead stan, so yeah, hope you enjoy.
And I am Zoe. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of Ghouls Magazine. I also have a podcast about extreme, nasty, very controversial horror films called Our Bloody Obsession, and then do lots of freelance work for Fangoria, Second Sight Films, 88 Films, Unearthed, and anywhere that will let me talk about disturbing, fucked up stuff, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. And I'm Iona, senior contributor for Ghouls Magazine and co-organisee person for this event, so yeah, we have a great time with this every month, don't we, Zoe?
We do indeed, yeah. Watch horror, hang out.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess first question for you guys would be, what is your kind of background with this film? Like, do you remember the first time you watched it? Like, is there any kind of connection, I guess, to this film, your experience, and like your love of horror in general?
You will go first.
I'll go first then. Yeah, The Evil Dead was actually the first horror film I ever saw. So my dad had a copy of it, and he has an actual, it's like a little squidgy Necronomicon book. And as a kid, huh?
Is that the latex DVD one?
Yes,
I've got
it
that,
is.
it's stuck to a road.
Yeah, my dad's is as well. It's like in pieces.
Very on point.
Yeah,
That's
right?
it,
Makes sense. And yeah, I was obsessed with it as a kid. I was like, what is this face? What is this face? My dad would never let me watch it, and then one Halloween party, he was like, alright, any horror film, you can choose it. I chose that, watched it, and was like, well, I'm never fucking sleeping again. And yeah, it kind of just kicked off my love of horror, and I think probably gore as well, because I was like, wow, exploding people, blood in mouths. I like this, I want more of this.
I mean, like, if that's your introduction to gore, then that explains a lot.
yeah, there's a lot going on there to depack.
I mean, I love it, but yeah. How about you, Amber?
I'm much the same. I think for a lot of people like my age, just coming out of the whole like video nasty thing in the UK, like this was always something I had heard rumours of. I blame this and another film, A Clockwork Orange, for the way I am today, so make of that what you will. Before this, I had really only seen like The Sixth Sense and The Others, and you know, those kind of like gothic-y, more quiet, psychological kind of thrillers. So I remember me and my friends like stole a bootleg VHS of this that one of our parents had, and I was like, fuck, I could not sleep for weeks. Like, especially the scene that always sticks with me is the nails going down Scotty's face. Like, I literally like could not take a shower for weeks after that because I was so scared to look behind the curtain. But yeah, much the same as Zoe, this is kind of like where my love of gore and exploding people, and now I watch like faux snuff Japanese films for fun. So
Yeah.
thanks, Sam Raimi.
I mean, yeah, you guys know that I'm slowly but surely kind of broadening my gore horizons. Like, I had a sleepover with Zoe recently where she introduced me to some of the films that these two enjoy, and it was an experience.
Tumbling Doll
Yeah.
of Flesh.
Yeah, Tumbling Doll of Flesh was a vibe. Let's not recommend that to her. But yeah, it's, do you know what, I think my experience is quite similar to yours, Amber. I watched this on a bootleg VHS that someone had in their house, but it was one of those really like dodgy ones where someone had clearly recorded the first film and then gone, oh, I've got a bit of space on this tape, I'm going to start recording the second film, but they only got about halfway through it. So for about, I'd say a couple of years, maybe like 4 years or so, I thought that this film had credits halfway through as a joke, and then the second film was just a continuation of the first film, and it was just like an extra long film because someone had just like carried on taping. But anyway, it was an interesting experience when I realised it was two separate films. So I guess going on from that, do you guys also consider yourselves fans of the second and third?
Yes, but I find, so I was just saying to you earlier, me and horror comedy are not like besties. Probably going to get in a lot of trouble for that. But I find like I don't revisit the second and third one as often as I probably should, because I know we all laugh at like this one, and it is funny at parts, and it is unintentionally funny at parts because, you know, a lot of it is quite dated, but it's scary. And, you know, to imagine watching that as like the first thing you see as like a 10-year-old or 11-year-old, I can't remember how old I was, but I was like truly scared for my life. And so the second two, I don't really go back to that often, but what I do go back to a lot is Fede Alvarez's 2013 one, because I just love like the bleak and horrible tone of it, and it takes the parts of this one that I love, which are the scary, pretty dark and like frightening parts of it, and yeah, I love the 2013 one because it's like not funny at all. It's nasty, it's vicious, it's bitter, and it's got a female girl, final girl, so in it.
I mean, going from what you were saying earlier about kind of this being your gateway into gore and stuff, it makes sense why you'd like that one so much, because like you said, it is literally every little element of like the nastiness and the like, oh.
We love a blood rain moment.
We love a blood rain moment. Blood rain moments.
We love a sawn in half like demon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We love that. Yeah.
And also, isn't in that version, isn't there a guy that just won't fucking die?
Yes. Yeah. And I can never remember his name, but I always think he's in X as well. Taiwan's X, the guy from that.
Quite similar.
So I like have a very aggressive reaction to him. But yeah, I love that version because it just doesn't let up at all, and it's got this really nasty, oppressive atmosphere. And it reminds me a lot of Night of the Living Dead in a way, where, like, the scariest thing to me is being trapped in a small place where things are just coming at you and you can't get out, and like you're watching them slowly coming. Like, that scares the shit out of me, and always has, and probably thanks to this film actually. So yeah, I probably should revisit 2 and 3, and like Army of Darkness especially. I should probably go back and visit more, but yeah. How about you?
Similar. I'm not a huge horror comedy fan. Also like very bleak, depressing films, funnily enough. I do like the second film. I remember I think it's, there's like a head in a vice or something, and I remember that scene always stuck with me. I don't know why, but I was just like, yeah, it's just like in the vice. And I remember watching it again. My dad showed me all these movies. I'm watching that, and for some reason the head in vice was like the one thing that stuck in my head. The third film, I like it just because I like Bruce Campbell. I think he's so good in these films, and like he comes to life as a character in the third film. And obviously I also really loved Ash vs Evil Dead, purely because we got to see more of Bruce Campbell become that character that is like the icon of horror. I was like very skeptical about the 2013 film because I was in the phase of like, remakes are fucking shit, never remake a film I love, which I now don't, you know, I'm very different now, I'm a different person.
You're a changed woman.
But it's a film that I'd like to revisit now that I'm not so against remakes at this point, because I do remember it being very iconic, and like you said, it was great to see the flip to like a female lead versus, you know, I mean, how could they replace Bruce Campbell? There was no point in trying, so it was nice to like have a different tone with that film.
Yeah. So saying about appreciation of Bruce Campbell, I am a massive defender of the second Evil Dead for anyone that's like, oh, but it's not as good as the first one. Shut the fuck up, basically. I love the second one purely because you see Bruce Campbell get to show his like physicality and his humour and stuff. And I mean, unlike you two, I love a horror comedy. Like, I mean, to be fair, you literally put any horror in front of me and I'm there for it. But the horror comedy kind of side of Evil Dead 2 and the slapstick, like chucking himself around, and like the little teeny tiny Bruces, the like little tiny Ashes running around being like dumb. That is like my like creme de la creme of like good, funny, dumb horror, and that's very much my vibe. But saying about the spin-off as well, so saying about the series Ash vs Evil Dead, there's also like all the game spin-offs, and there's the newest version of the game where you can play all the different versions of Ash, you can play all the different versions of like other survivors, you can play a bunch, like a whole bunch of like the Deadites and everything. Have you guys played this?
No, I am an absolute fucking wimp at horror games. I cannot play horror games for shit. So
I mean, okay, so this is a challenge. At some point, we're going to get Zoe like on some sort of stream or something.
Please
we're going to
God.
get her playing like the scariest horror game we can find. Just to reassure you, the Evil Dead game is not scary. It's just
I
it's
think
funny,
I could
but-
find it scary. Trust me.
Maybe,
I'm
maybe.
a wimp with games. I haven't played it.
No, I
Go on,
mean,
that's just in case.
yeah, I am. When it comes to horror games, I'm like a massive wimp as well. There's something about putting myself in the situation. Like Silent Hill 2 is my icon and baby, but it scares the ever-loving shit out of me. I recently played the Dead Space remake, which also scared the shit out of me, and Resident Evil Village I recently played, and I think that's it. I think I'm done with horror games. But I do need to check it out, because if you say like it's not scary and it's like fun,
It's like good because you can play it like as like a multiplayer platform. Like you can have like different teams kind of coming in, like you can play like online with like a bunch of people. It's yeah. Anyway, I digress. In that case, put it in this context then. If you guys were in this Evil Dead, how long do you think you would survive?
not even a minute. I would be gone. I'd be in the woods. Like I would go. I like to talk like a tough game, but I'm an absolute baby. I'm a complete wimp in real life. I can watch like the most terrifying thing in the world and put it in front of me, I won't flinch. But the second I have to feel a scared situation, I'm done. Like I can't even.
You're just tapping out straight away, like
completely done.
like, wash
I
my hands
can't
of
even
that.
like even if my boyfriend goes away for the night, I'm like like checking the doors and windows. Like so, I would be absolutely done. I would be first out. I would be like in the cellar, like hooting and hollering, like watching it all go down. But yeah, I would not be.
So
last.
you're definitely not the Ash character. In
No,
this sense.
hell no. I'd be done. Dead by dawn, for
Fine.
sure.
Fine. Sorry, how about you?
I'd like to think that I'd survive
You would.
fairly
You
long.
definitely would.
Yeah, I think I've got, some kind of gusto in me to survive the Deadites. I think. Or it put me now in this scenario and I'm like crying in the corner, just like, please, I want to go home.
I mean, not that it's like a real world experience, but seeing you navigate the Saw experience that we did together, I think you'd have a right chance.
Yeah. I quite like it. I feel like
You used your initiative. You were a smart cookie. It was you did pretty well.
Yeah.
Just for context, the rest of us who were in this experience had no idea what the hell we were doing, and Zoe was basically like, right, so what you're going to do is, and just going around pointing out all the bits, and we were just going, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to pull this thing, yeah. So I think you'd survive pretty well. I think you'd do well for yourself.
How about you?
Oh, I'd be fucked.
No.
No. I talk the talk.
You bought an umbrella today. You're very protective. You get the boom stick out.
The difference is I'm mother. It doesn't mean that I'm good at surviving. I'll make sure everyone else is okay, and then I'll just go and die quietly in the corner. So, like, actually, I was gonna say if anything, I'm Scotty, but no, fuck Scotty. I don't want to be Scotty.
No.
Hell no, we don't want to be Scotty. But I just mean that like I'd be like I'll look after everyone, and then I'll find a problem with everything that is going on, and then be like, you guys, I'm out, and just like try and run off into the woods, probably get like, attacked and nearly die, and then no, I've got no chance, no way. I guess the kind of logical lead on then is obviously, as we mentioned earlier, Evil Dead Rise is coming out. So that comes out tomorrow. Just to check, has anyone in the room seen Evil Dead Rise yet? Oh, we've got one in the back. Okay. So I'm not going to look at either of you when I ask this question because I don't want to read your faces. What are your predictions for Evil Dead Rise?
People are gonna get fucked up.
So it's an Evil Dead film.
I think we're gonna see a lot of great gore. I mean, even from the trailer, there are like 3. We've already got an iconic weapon in the cheese grater, like that already.
I don't know where they're going to go with that. I haven't
Many places.
It's downward with me. I have like actively like avoided any like conversations with it on socials because I was like, I don't want it to get spoiled. But at the same time, I've got so many theories about that cheese grater, and I'm so excited to see how they utilize it.
They've been giving out at like the premiere and press screenings. They've been giving out mini cheese graters with like little like strips of flesh-colored candy, like sour, and they've been calling it like Mom's leguini because it's like pasta.
Delicious.
Which I'm so so excited for. I'm very excited for a swallowing glass moment, which gets to me personally. I just can't wait to see an apartment block because I love an apartment block horror. Like, it's giving me very, like, Demons, wait, is it Demons 1 or Demons 2 that's in the apartment block? Demons 2, thank you. Wreck, the new Satan Slaves Communion, I think, was set in an apartment block, and I love it because there's something really terrifying about being surrounded by all these people, but you still feel really far away from them.
Yeah.
And having lived in, like, shitty, rundown apartment blocks, like, it's something that I feel very comfortable with and very excited to see it. I think it's going to be quite iconic, yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Zoe?
Yeah, I think pretty much the same. I think as well, from what I've heard, from what kind of looks like the trailer, that they've added that element of like comedy back into it, but also paired it very well with like the bleak, gory aspect of it, which I think is kind of, it's almost like taking the best bits of the Evil Dead and reimagining it. I also think it's going to be incredibly gory and bloody, which, you know, to see in the cinema nowadays, I mean, I know we had like Terrifier 2 last year in the cinema, which was pretty gory, but I think like it's nice to see blood on the big screen and a lot of it. And I think, you know, when it comes to the Evil Dead, like that's the whole purpose of it, like it's splatterific, and I love seeing that. And I also like the look of, like you said, some of the kills. I think in the trailer there's like a scalping or something like that as well, which, you know, love a scalping. And yeah, look, it looks really frightening, which I hope like it brings some actual terror to it.
It looks like Alyssa Sutherland, who I don't know the character's name that she's playing, but Mommy, I guess, like her mommy's with the maggots now. That's already like an iconic line as it is, but she looks like pretty fucking terrifying already from what I've seen. I want to be scared. Like I want to get, I've been chasing that original Evil Dead fear since I saw it however many decades ago, and I'm hoping I can get it back with this one. We'll see.
You want to like see if you can grasp that pure terror in your hand once again. No, I can get that.
I want to be upset.
I guess then to wrap up, I'd maybe, for one final question, bring it back to the film that we have gloriously witnessed tonight. What do you guys think is the best kind of goriest or like most exciting moment within this film?
Not the goriest, but I think one of the most iconic scenes, and perhaps I discussed this on a podcast, Moving Films Picture podcast with Tim Coleman, and we discussed the tree rape scene, which is, you know, perhaps a little bit problematic in the way that it's shot, perhaps a little bit male gazy. That's what we spoke about on the podcast. But I think like that scene, to me, it comes so out of the blue in the film. Juliet's reaction earlier, she's not seen the film, she was like, did that just happen? And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's almost like...
I had to confirm that, I just was like...
Is this going on?
This is the real thing we've just witnessed, right?
Yeah. But you don't expect it to happen, that's the thing, like, and I remember, you know, seeing it quite young, I was like, I've never seen anything quite like that, and I think, you know, even in horror films now, like, they don't go that far, and I think having like nature as a force versus, you know, later on in the film obviously have the Deadites that come to life, but they're a bit more personified, whereas there's something for me quite terrifying and brutal about the fact that it's, you know, the woods around you, nature is against you, and it has this power that it doesn't just possess humans, it can kind of possess more than that. So you're almost, you know, even in a way the cabin is kind of possessed in itself, you can't escape that. So I guess, you know, whilst there's loads of gore, like I love, you know, when the pipe bursts and he gets the blood all over him, I think for me, like the scene that really sticks out in this film, excuse the pun, sticks out, is the tree scene.
I love the voices. I love a pitch down voice in horror, and I think like this film does it so well, to the fact that even, you know, this came out in 1981 and it's still, those voices still scare me. Like the screaming, the first One by One We Will Take You has just stuck with me forever. But I love towards the end where Ash throws the Necronomicon in the fire, and there's that beat where everything stops.
Yeah.
And he's looking at them, and they're looking at him, and like slowly disintegrating, and then all hell breaks loose again. And we've got deadite cores coming out and everything. The disintegration of the bodies. I love a disintegrated body.
Oh yeah,
love that.
Don't we
But
all?
of course you do, darling. But I just love it. I'd never seen like milk and pus and what looks like Garmonbosia for my Twin Peaks fans coming out of like orifices and just disgusting mess and chaos. I live for it every time. Amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've got to agree with you for the final scene, only because like I mean, like, I'm a massive practical effects fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you guys have heard me go on about practical effects for some of the films I'm obsessed with. Final Destination, just saying, favourite franchise ever. Anyway, yeah, like, I love watching, like, the old school blood and gore, but then also the disintegration of the bodies and the plasticine, like, disintegration. Mm-hmm. I always forget that that's how the bodies decompose at the end of this. And it always takes me by surprise for a moment, because it's still, even though it's like plasticine, it looks grim.
It's good.
I'm like,
It's good.
oh, you're vile. In a good way. Like, I'm kind of like, I'm watching it, but I'm also a bit like, ugh.
It's a mess. The whole film is a mess.
Yeah, like, you can give me, like, blood and gore and, like, all the, like, liquids everywhere, but you make it a bit more bitty?
Bitty's a great word.
Yeah.
Sandy
Yeah.
and grainy.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
everything's
Lumpy.
everything's got
Lumpy,
bits in it, and
yeah.
like the plasticine just kind of makes me feel a bit.
There's nothing like a lot of the blood and gore I think you see with like CGI or whatever in modern films, like it all looks too clean for
Yeah.
me. It
Yeah.
all looks too fancy and too sexy, and I don't want
not
that.
realistic
like, no,
enough.
I mean, not that claymation is particularly realistic,
But I guess
you know,
you can feel it a bit
yeah.
more.
It's like and the whole production of this film, from everything that we know, was just chaos. Everyone was sick. Everyone was covered in their own blood. Mm-hmm. They all had been there for like 12 weeks with like no heating and no food or whatever, and you can just feel it with those practical effects. It feels disgusting. Mm-hmm. I love it.
But then at the same time, there's Bruce Campbell having the absolute best time in the woods with his bestie Sam Raimi.
Himbo King.
Just we love the Himbo King. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good place for us to wrap it up, really. Thanks you guys for coming to our first ever panel. It was much appreciated. I'm glad you all stuck around. We'll be doing these a little bit more on the regular for these kind of screenings, won't we, Zoe? So
Yeah.
I mean, are we allowed to announce the next one?
I think we can announce what we've got coming up next month.
So next month we will be showing the glorious original Blair Witch Project. And we have a lovely, lovely panel which we will be announcing in due course. But we've got some fun names in there. So yeah, watch this space, and hopefully we'll see you guys in next month. We'll see. Cool. Thanks for coming, guys.